I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Alrighty, guys, this is so different for us, but thank you guys for tuning in. You got all of us here. We've got my beautiful Brian Santos. He's here. I got Miss Sana and Eric. How are you guys?
I'm
Good.
Amazing.
Corona-free.
Retweet.
Even to Derek to be the first. Why did I call you Derek? Oh, look, you guys, if you saw his name, it has his like first and middle, and I just totally went ahead and named you Derek because I
Yeah, wouldn't be the first time it's happened in my life.
So it's been a while. I was hoping to be back in the studio after my bridal party shenanigans, and now we are all stuck at home.
Yeah, this
I don't
definitely
mind.
different. This brings me back to the back in the day, like with Ubu and Sky and Ustream, all of that.
Right.
Yeah, the real ones know about Ustream. If you don't
Yeah.
you are
I'm not a real one.
like
I'm like, I'm not a real one because I didn't use it. I knew about it, but I didn't use it.
but you know what it is.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
That's it.
I'm lost, but
You're
You're too young.
you're too young, but
That's
I think
it. That's all
now
it is.
I think we should just go ahead and jump into the episode of Katy Keene. I mean, obviously, everyone who's going to be watching this has been following along with the episodes. You guys, I'm actually I need Katy to stop playing victim. She's a big girl. She knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
she has got so many men up in her Kool-Aid. Literally
Menounos.
went straight from KO to Errol, and then now back to Gaila Montana. I'm like, sister, they're all beautiful, fine, delicious men, but pick one.
Yeah, it's between her and Jorge. Jorge really has me upset, but we'll get we'll get to him later.
You're still upset with Jorge? Okay. Well,
Hey,
I'll
me
let it
too.
flow. I'll let it flow.
No, I don't think you're upset with Jorge. I'm just a little frustrated because he is letting like his inner demons like really ruin everything else. He's letting it leak into everything, and
Yes.
it's starting to become like a big problem. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what I'm thinking.
He's
But,
acting like a child.
Yes.
Okay.
But
All
what
the
part
drama.
of it what part of it makes you guys feel like he's acting like a child? Because in this episode, I felt like he stepped up a little. It wasn't so woe is me this time around. This was probably the one episode out of the last 3. It didn't give me woe is me. Y'all got that?
I did.
I don't think we watched the same episode.
No, I think I mean, to a certain extent, it was like it's me, because granted, that's something he's always wanted, but the only way to he had to like come at it from a different angle and to get what he wanted. But I understand why he wanted it so bad, because he said himself he wanted his dad to see him in drag because that's
Right.
like who he is. So I understood like why he didn't want Josie to play the part. Like he's like, let me, and she's like, well, let me have. He's like, no, let me. And I understood, because I feel like his, as much as hers would give her the big break,
Yeah.
his has much more of a sentimental value to it. You know what I mean? I felt like that would help him heal in a lot of areas, and that's why he wanted it so bad.
But he also brought this concept. Imagine I'm Beyonce and I started Destiny's Child, but we're gonna make Michelle the lead singer. I'm sorry, what?
Get out of here.
Wasn't this my idea?
Get out of here.
I agree with that. I don't like how everyone stepped in, but at that same token, Pepper had a point when she basically said, like, if you don't let Josie get in, you're not going to have a show at all. So
That's
you
true.
might as well let Josie perform, because you'll have something to work off of. I know it's not what you really, really wanted. Like I understood that he was upset in that first moment, but when he started like going, like, when they were doing like the rehearsal and watching Josie and he was getting all frustrated, I was like, sis, get it together. Literally, like, I know you want that role, but there'll be another time for it. And if you want to just have anything, just suck it up. So that's kind of where I was. Like, even I know what you mean. Like he wasn't as like angsty or like woe is me as he has been in the last few episodes, but he
Right.
still needs to get it together because it's not cute.
I just feel that he always makes everything about him. This
Girl, he's a queen.
He didn't give you the part. Like, to me, they didn't give it to you. So you just work with what you got. I feel like he could have really owned the role that he got, that they told him to do. He could have just did that role and slayed just as much. Because just like if we're gonna bring Beyonce in there, let's bring up Dream Girls.
Okay.
Was not like she was
Jennifer Hudson stole that.
But she showed out, okay? When it was her time to shine, she showed out. And I feel like Jorge makes everything about him. Last episode, he wants the dress. It didn't happen. So what does he do? He throws a fit. And he messes stuff up. And it's
girl.
Like, I was just so over it. Let Josie shine. Like, let people have their shine, because Jorge needs to understand, when you get into the real industry, like the industry for real, he's probably like, girl, I'm already in this industry. like with his character, the more he wants to advance in his career, they're not always going to give it to you because you just want to shine and it's this new milestone that you want to do in your life. Like, Daddy could have saw you shine and be the best spider web assistant person ever.
Not spider web assistant.
Well, I see. Okay, look. The one who's trying to dull her shine and play Little Miss. Oh, I'm the victim. I can't do this. You guys, I really was annoyed with Katy this episode. I really was. Like, I'm sorry. You knew what you were doing. You knew damn well what you were doing. Don't try to play with me that, oh no, but they were really like not together. No. That's royalty. They're not going to be like that. She did it anyways. And now she's trying to play Little Miss Mother Teresa. I cannot make that dress because I could just live with myself.
Y'all wouldn't feel bad. y'all wouldn't feel bad.
Like, I wouldn't feel bad. I was proud of
you. Didn't feel bad when she was sleeping with him.
Because when it's good, it's good. But that's not the discussion here. The discussion is like, okay, I messed up here. He messed up. Morally, can I really construct this woman's magic royal gown knowing I royally screwed her man 24 hours ago?
Here's my thing. If she really believed that what she did wasn't wrong and she had absolutely no clue, she wouldn't feel as bad as she does.
I agree. And I think more what just annoyed me was how much she kept telling it to everybody. Like, she was beating us over the head with it. Like, oh my God, I can't do it. I can't make this dress. I'm like, then don't make it. Don't make the dress, girl, if you don't want to do it. Like, seriously, like, it was just like.
But Gloria's going to kill me. She's going to kill me. But what I did like was when she told her, she was like, she spoke to her like an adult. She was just like, listen, you might have done that, but you're going to let a man who's not even with you, let's just put it out there, you're going to let him take your biggest opportunity.
Right.
Because you decided to think with, I'm sorry, she thought with that rather than her head.
I do agree with what you guys are saying. And I especially agree with Eric, because it's just like, if the fact that she has a conscience and she's able to really recognize that this is like wrong of what she did, I feel like her going back and forth of making the dress was kind of like a punishment for her, because she really, that would have put her on the map. But the fact that she didn't do it, it also was kind of like, dang, it wasn't her dress, but she still gets to keep her job and she still gets to keep everything. Because it would have been bad if she would have did the dress and like later on it's gonna come out that she did have sex with the man, because she didn't tell the whole New York. She didn't tell everybody.
Not know how to keep her mouth shut. She's like, okay, well, I slept with him. I'm like, girl, you just want to tell everyone.
Nobody knew. And the thing is, it's just like to know that woman would have taken pictures, wedding photos in that dress, that her husband slept with the little mistress of the seamstress in this case. It would have just been too messy. It would have been too much.
And it would have probably been bad for Lacey's.
It would have been
bad publicity.
Lacey.
But isn't
And then,
bad
yeah.
publicity good publicity or any
I
publicity?
don't know with Gloria. She's so
I
Tracy.
don't know. Gloria
I
look
don't
like
know.
such a head.
Y'all know Gloria has probably busted it open like a can of biscuits in her day. And that's why she wasn't shocked. That's why Gloria wasn't shocked.
Oh, that girl probably slept her way up to the top.
Damn, we're coming for her.
She probably slept with the king. That's why she didn't care. She was like, okay.
And
thank you, next.
So let's keep it moving.
right.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I just keep getting this sense like she's not taking responsibility, like she's trying to play the victim.
I mean,
Okay.
I can see I just think that she right now, Katy is like that friend that has been in a relationship since she was 3 years old. And so now that she's got
her whole life.
Yeah,
Legit.
her whole time. And then she finally gets to be single and she doesn't know what to do. Like she doesn't know what to do and how to really play the game smooth. So she's playing a messy game right now.
She's apparently doing everything every which way.
Yeah. She gotta
Here's the thing. Like, if that was me though, I said this about Josie and Alex Cabot. Like, I know that they just broke up, but just personally myself, if he was a prince and he looked like that, I'm so sorry, I'm ruining a marriage. And that's just me. So just, I guess, I kind of see where Katy's coming from. But at that same token, I wouldn't go around regretting it. I would have, like Yvette said, I would take responsibility for my decision. That I opened my legs and that was my prerogative. So
exactly. Yeah. That's my thing. My whole thing is you did it. You weren't forced into it. Okay. In your mind, you said he was not with her at all. So granted, you probably feel bad because they got like, you feel bad because they got back together and you were in that span of whatever, the 24 hours that they were not together. But I mean, she's like, almost like she's trying to justify it herself. And then she's not taking, like, no, you're going to justify it. You have to take the actions. Put your big girl panties on. We all make mistakes. Go on, make the dress and get your name out there for you.
Yeah.
Now, would y'all have felt as bad if y'all heard the backstory of my parents told me that it's too last minute and it would ruin us? Like, this would look bad in the public and it would ruin us. Would you still feel as bad knowing that he didn't want to get back in that relationship?
When he said that, I was like, if that's the biggest excuse I've ever heard.
I still feel
that's the biggest excuse to be like, let me make you feel a little better. Because then she was like, oh my God, that's horrible. I was like, girl, are you stupid?
I believed it. Maybe I'm stupid, but I was like, oh.
Don't believe it. But I was just like, I don't know. Maybe it was like the wrong timing. Maybe if like they showed you like a little bit of a backstory, like it was always a problem and, the parents were overbearing and they were controlling, then I could see like me believing it. But when he was like, my parents didn't want us to, or my parents didn't want me, it was too late. I'd be like,
yeah, I can't. So now what were you going to say, girl?
Because, to me, it's cheaper in the long run. Because if he goes on the, during the wedding and says, I don't, you didn't spend all this money and wasted people's time. Like, you could have said this a long time ago. And I feel he needs to be having this conversation with his fiancée. He does not need to be having this conversation with Katy because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter for her. Like, she can either choose to be with you or not, but she's not in a bind with anyone. Mm-hmm. So with him, you're about to make a big step in your life and you need to talk to your wife. You need to see like, do you just want to go against the grain and like say, F the parents, on some rebellious stuff. But I think he shouldn't even be talking to Katy about this because, I feel Katy is going to get in her head like, oh my God.
Well, and I feel Katy is just going to be messing with all these men and then she's just going to go running back to KO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I'll be there waiting. Sorry, girl.
Yeah, she definitely took the seat right next to him at Pepper's Playhouse. She sat right next to him. I was like, all right, Katy. All right.
I see what you're
God.
doing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, Pepper. I got a very different vibe from her this episode.
Yeah, me too.
Episodes before, and it's like kind of like it was a shisty friend. I'm helping you out, but I have a motive behind it. That's what I got.
Yeah.
To who though? To all of them?
Kind of.
Explain.
I just got this vibe that was like something's gonna blow up in someone's face. I don't know who it's gonna be, but it's definitely going to be someone.
What made you?
Go ahead, Sana.
What made you think that? Like, what part in the episode made you think?
I think it was when she was explaining to the girl, you know, when she's like, you have more than double to spend or something. Like she was explaining it to her.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
like,
Dee.
this is what's going on. And then she's like, well, you know, Alex gets a little something, they get a little something, and then
she said I think she said you made 3 times more than what it already cost or something.
Yeah, and she's like, so no one but I feel like however she got that is where it's gonna backfire. Does that make sense? But like I feel like she's not gonna take the fall or the rap for it.
Because we know she got it from Alex and we know she got it from Xandra. So what I took from it was that, okay, I'm telling you a certain amount to make sure that Jorge gets what he needs for his production, to make sure Josie gets whatever she needs out of it. But I'm also going to make sure that the pepper plant is established and I'm not getting evicted. So I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. I always find that as the middleman, you should increase your fee to ensure that you have something to take home. I actually got my life from Pepper all episode because I feel like this was the most structured we saw her in her element. Like Pepper was that girl. She was like, okay, you need this function. I got it. I know who to call. We're going to do it. And she turned that place out. Like that final, because the first performance Jorge did, girl, hang it up, flat screen. But the second one was a packed house. And she did the damn thing. I was like, okay, Pepper is living up to her reputation. So she became a fave again. She wasn't messy boots.
So would it change your mind if, let's say, I'm not a mathematician, guys, so don't quote me on these numbers. But let's say she gives 2 to Jorge, 2 to Josie, and then she keeps 30.
To what?
30K.
2,000, and she keeps 30?
Yeah.
I'm going to beat her till she turns into salt. Don't play with me. Don't play with me.
I'm going to be like, you know that coronavirus check? It better be a for me, okay?
About Rona. I might have to call my girl Rona on the phone.
Take her out.
Rona, hello.
I mean, I wouldn't, think Pepper wouldn't do that because, they even said this is way more than what the production even is. And she said, I'm going to give this much, I'm going to give this much. She snitches to the feds. She goes and talks to the press. Yeah. She did that already.
Yeah,
I think that's what gave me the inclination that this might, whatever's being done or however it gets done, it's going to backfire. Something's going to come out that it's not going to be right. And someone's going to get hurt by it.
I definitely agree with Eric that she executed. Like she was good on her word that she executed everything great. But I do agree that also with you, Yvette, that I don't think her intentions were true. Like she was still, I guess it's kind of like she's thinking that it's kill 2 birds with 1 stone. She's thinking that I can help my friend and also get some coin on my own, which I guess is not really a bad thing. But I don't know. I agree with you in the sense that I don't really trust that she is full 100% for the group. I feel like she's not as there for everyone else, like as someone like Katy is, or like, well, actually only Katy is the one that's really for the group. Everyone else is so selfish. So, yeah.
I mean, in essence, there's nothing wrong. At the end of the day, it is her livelihood. That is her job. That's how she gets her money. I get it. So I get where there's the incentive, like to work for me, but I don't know. You get they're giving off this persona of her, like they're all just so close. They're so tight knit. And it's like, really, like, I feel bad now that you say that. Katy's really the only one that's there for everyone, but is everyone really there for Katy?
Yeah.
Wait. How we doing?
Well, Josie's been good.
Let's not throw Josie in that mix because Josie.
Okay, fair.
Compared to everybody else, right? Kind of, as far as friendships go.
Yeah, because she is new to the group, so maybe she has that grace period like looming over her. But I just think, okay, we've established that Jorge has moments where he's just a little like self-indulged, even if it's not like with malicious intent. It's just like it's his nature. Like it's the Jorge show.
Right.
Pepper, we see that Pepper wants to keep up with the Joneses, so Pepper automatically has to keep a certain status for herself. So that, yes, I get that. Well, who else is there really?
I just think honestly, out of all of them, Josie's probably the one that could be most manipulated. You know what I mean? Like she's the one that I think has probably the bigger dream that can't fall back on anything, if that makes
Right.
sense. The dream that like you either have to make it or that's it. You really can't pursue it anymore.
Right. And she's gonna have to prove her mom wrong.
Uh-huh. And then Katy, I think what she has for her is she's got the big doe eyes, you know. I'm doing this for my mom. My mom's no longer with me. I'm an intern. I have, my own, I'm quoting Devil Witch Prada. I have my own Miranda. You know what I mean? Like things like that. So I think she's been in that for so long where she wants to help everyone, but I think everyone is so like into their own thing right now. And like their stories are just so much more different from Katy's. Like I feel Katy has so much more of an advantage over everybody.
I feel like in ways I do agree. I just feel like Josie, like she's new to everything. I get where you could see manipulated because I mean on her first day, baby, she thought she had the record deal.
In the park.
Let me find out.
She went like that in the park.
Moved to New York to get like a deal in a day. But Eric's like, absolutely not. That's
she's from Riverdale.
Don't come from Riverdale.
But I feel that I don't know, like Jorge, I feel he doesn't even know who he is. Like Jorge is lost in his own sauce. He doesn't know. He just is trying to find out who he is so bad that he just becomes selfish in so many different ways. Like everything has to be about him. Everything. To like his auditions, to just everything. And if it's not about him, then it's a problem. And then even when it came to him at the bar with his man, somebody just asked his man a simple question or whatever, and he's shaking like so much.
We're all like, mm-mm.
I know he is messy.
The question I have: if you guys could be friends with anyone from the cast, who would you be friends with, and why?
Oof.
Just from the 4 main friend group, or any of them?
You can't say KO because you would end up
saying. Thank you, Yvette. I saw through you like I sprayed you with Windex.
From all the characters we've seen thus far, even throw Amanda in the mix. Even though
no, ain't nobody gonna pick Amanda. Let's not do charity. Nobody picking Amanda.
This ain't no Goodwill.
Bernardo, because we are gonna be friends, more than friends, and because Jorge is being all messy, and I'm just gonna step in and show him what a real woman is like, and that's on that. Goodbye.
And that's on that. Goodbye.
Pepper.
I knew it.
She's just so much fun, and when she's on her game, she's on her game. Is she the most trustworthy? No, and that makes me hesitate because I feel like with your friends, you need a certain level of trust. But in terms of her vibe and how thorough she is work-wise, like I love that energy. So I'm saying Pepper.
Mine, I think it's a tie. Just it would have to be between Josie or Katy, and the reason why I say that is because they both have a very driven personality, and I think you have to surround yourself with people like that. And they're both very much like they want to work hard for their stuff and be rewarded for it. They don't want it to just be given to them. And in a sense, they're trustworthy, but on different levels. You know what I mean? Like I kind of almost lean a little more towards Josie in the sense that I know that if I go through my little rough patch and I kind of like break off and I need my own isolation, like she could still get through life without me being there for her every single day. Like,
Jorge.
I don't have to keep
Jorge.
I don't have to keep checking in on her. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she's been going through it. Then when I'm ready, it's like, whereas Katy, I feel like you do have to be like I would have to be checking in on her all the time, even while I'm going through my own.
Sure.
Right.
Which I mean, you know, you do want a friend like that, but sometimes you just can't be that friend during certain times. So
Right.
it's neck and neck with Josie and Katy, but I'm leaning a little more towards Josie.
I think I would choose. It's funny you said that because I was gonna either choose Josie or Katy, and I think I'm going to end up choosing. I was thinking about Josie too because one, I think she'd be fun to do TikToks with, and also because I love the fact that she can read you when she needs to, and I'm glad she got her little backbone put in there and was able to read when she needed to. So I'm glad she's able to stick up for herself and things like that. And she just seems like a really sweet girl, and she has morals and values. So I really like how she was debating on, even with the check, cashing that check, because she was like, I don't want to cash it and morally it be wrong. So I'm glad she has some morals to it too. So.
Yeah.
Notice how none of us said Jorge?
Because I think right now what we see Jorge is he has so much demons that no one can help him. Like, even though everyone tries to help him, it's not working. So it's like, that's that friend that it gets to the point where you're just like, you know what? I need to let it hit the fan. And once they fall, once they're completely on the ground, I am there to pick them up and we go from there. I'm not going to tell you I told you so, but it's like, I tried. And then it's like, you're taken advantage of. It gets exhausting. And, you can only do so much.
Two things while we're on Jorge. One, I don't know how y'all felt, but when his mom was singing that song, cut the mic. It didn't hit.
Okay. This whole was cringeworthy of me. I'm sorry. Every time they sing, I cringe. I cannot with this. I don't know. I'm just not here for it.
It was not good. And I was looking at her and I'm like, do you think you're giving it up right now? Like, do you think that you're giving it up? Because it wasn't. And sweet, she seems like a sweet woman though, and I love the support she shows her son, but that song was not it. And then one thing on the side of Jorge, I feel like he has a lot of trauma, yes, and it is a little annoying at times. However, in that, like, just that moment when his father was like, my son is a star, and then we got to the bar and he's just like, okay, you can come out of that stuff now. And I was kind of triggered because I remember during my childhood, not necessarily that I was like doing drag or anything like that, but just being told like, okay, this facade that you have going on, like, time to be a real man again. And I know what that feels like. So I'm just like, damn, that's heavy. Like, I get why he's so self-conscious about everything. Cause it's like your whole life, if you're being told that your most authentic self is not your authentic self, it's like everything is a fight to show everyone who Jorge is. And I really shouldn't have to prove who I am if I know me best. So I felt him.
Yeah.
I had written down that it was almost like one of those things, like you think like you're in the clear, because he was like, my son is a star, my son is a star. And then he's like, you can get out of that. It's costume right now. When I saw that, I felt like I almost felt for both sides just because and I guess the best way to put it is like my aunt and uncle, they've got 3 kids. 2 of them are gay and 1 of them isn't. And when you ask them and they're like, it's not that, it's like they're almost scared of how society's going to treat them and what's going to be done to them. And it's almost like you do it in order to protect them. And it's like, you wouldn't be able to, granted, not every parent is like this, but you wouldn't be able to live with yourself if something happened. That's something you could have prevented. I think that's the way where they feel like they could have prevented it. And I think like my stomach was in knots when they were walking down the street and the mom had said, please don't be walking in the streets, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And like when I saw that and he was like, you know, like Bernard, and I was just like, oh my God. I was like, please don't let this next episode be what I think it's going to be, because
I know.
even right now, like my back is hurting. Like I don't like to see stuff like that, even though I know it happens. And, you know, God knows I don't want it to happen, but I'm like, please, like I can't see anything like that. I don't want to see anything like that. And I'm really scared that if that does happen, it's gonna like trickle into their relationship and he's gonna end up blaming like what happened to him. He's gonna blame it on someone. Like he might blame it on him, like you were I don't know, like you were too this, you were too that, and it's just gonna get so like I don't know. I'm really scared. I'm really scared to see it. Is what I'm.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to see it. Like I'm that person. I'm like, please don't let me face. Like don't.
Yeah. It's crazy you said that, Yvette. I'll chime in because I didn't even think of that at all. I do remember that basically the mom alluded to that, and I remember that the dad was, you know, they're trying to be more cautious because there was those issues that they're already having. And I didn't even think about that whole dynamic of like, he's more so coming from a place of like concern of like, you know, I want him to, we don't want to like, not like Eric said, not show his true authentic self. But if that's going to cost him his safety, like it's a complex, because I've had that exact same thing with my parents as well. My dad, like he's like such a big supporter, but he's also like always, every single day, just make sure you're careful, just make sure that you know who's around, just make sure you know who you're associating with, because it's coming from a place of concern.
That's
so
why
I do see what you say that. I didn't even think of it.
Not a lot of parents are like that. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that's it. Get out of my life, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, I understand, but like, I try and I hope, and I would love if all parents were like that. It's like, I'm not, you know, it's just, I think it comes from a place of fear, but sometimes I know it's not from a place of fear. I'm sorry. Some parents are just not accepting and they're assholes.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's the reality of it. And that's why I'm like, you know, you got to give it up to those parents that are completely accepting. You really do, because they're the ones that like, they live with so much fear of, am I doing this right? Am I protecting them enough? Like, what can I do? Like, how can I help them? And, you know, you try, and in you trying, it's like, you're almost taking away from them being able to be their true selves. So that's where I'm just like, you know, I don't know. Like I understand where he's coming from and I understand what he means, but I understand putting myself in the dad's shoe as a good parent. That's why
he's not bad. He's not bad. It's just, it could be better, but it's a process. It takes time. You know, ignorance needs coaching, and I don't say ignorance with ill intent, but it takes coaching. The fact that he was willing to be there and he didn't storm out when he saw him in drag is kind of like, you know, the remarks at the end didn't need to happen, but it's not the worst case we've seen.
There you go.
You know? 100% agree. Yeah,
like, it didn't need to be said, but it's like, at least he was there. He didn't storm out. But like, it's always like the cherry on the top. It's like, did you really have to go? Like, did you have to? You couldn't have waited till you got in the car and said something to somebody else. But no, you had to say something there.
Yeah. So thankfully, Bernardo like stepped in.
Huh?
Thankfully.
When Bernardo stepped in, I really like that. I think that he's definitely not going to be the dad's favorite boyfriend on earth, but I do like how he stepped in and like vouched for Jorge and Ginger, and just I
think he might end up liking him, and I think at first it might be for the wrong reasons, because I think he feels like he's going to make him more manly. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's why he's going to like him. But then I feel like what's going to happen is he's going to end up liking him, because it's like, he's taking care of my son. He cares about my son. And whatever happens this next episode, I feel like that's going to determine a lot of how he ends up, how he changes with him, how he ends up liking him. You know what I mean? Like, it's all going to derive in this episode. This is where you're going to see the big change, the big twist, this is how, you know, it's going to, what sucks is that it's gonna take something really, really bad for something so beautiful to come out of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
At least that's what I'm hoping. Yvette likes to live in this beautiful world.
I think Jorge's a boyfriend is going to give somebody the 1-2, and
I hope so.
So
Yeah.
that's that thing, and then around
so.
town and around the whole block, they're gonna be like, "Don't mess with Jorge. He got a crazy boyfriend. He really does fight. So and he
He's
fights.
FDNY, girl.
He fights
He's sliding down that pole.
Fire and humans. He fights them both. So if you got a problem with it, see him.
Well,
Right.
I'm moving on from KO to Bernardo. Goodbye.
Oh my gosh.
Brian, you're so fraudulent. Oh my God.
I'm pulling a Katy Keene right now.
I'm hoping Jorge still keeps his heels on so he can be kicking them in the nuts with his heels on and all that and be like, take that, you just got beat up by a girl.
Yes. Can we talk about how amazing Jorge looked this episode? This was the best he looked.
Oh yeah.
The whole season in drag as Ginger.
Absolutely.
Costumes were great, makeup looked great, wigs were great. That's one thing I had to say. Looked the best. The eyebrows were finally on point.
I didn't like Josie's kitten wig. As Spider-Woman, I did not like that kitten wig. I didn't know. I didn't ask for it. Yeah, I need a volume.
Okay, I can do with the volume. I'm a volume kind of girl.
Same.
No.
I'm glad Jorge's eyebrows weren't to the ceiling this time. I'm so glad. And I liked her little
the kitten wig?
I'm gonna call her like the Natasha and Boris, the little Russian.
Yeah.
Right.
I liked it. I always want to be everything for Halloween. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm down with being Spider-Woman. I want a little spider web all up here, kind of like Elvira vibes.
Yeah.
I went with the Katy Keene vibes, the very high neck, cap sleeve.
Right.
I liked her little look. I loved all the pink. Pink, I love pink. I'm such a girl.
That's why we're wearing pink.
Yeah, did you guys notice we're matching?
I didn't plan this.
On Fridays we wear pink.
I actually have to put my brand up.
On Friday nights, we wear pink.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So let's just get into the next episode predictions. What do you guys think is going to happen? And I'm going to start with you, Bryant.
Okay. I do agree that I think Bernardo is actually going to come up and he's just going to say FDNY, let's get this. I hope so. And I'll be here ready, willing, and able for him to do that. And then I also think that Pepper, like you said, is also going to get caught, maybe. I think she's going to get caught in her own web of lies and deception and keeping up with the Joneses, like we always say. So we'll see how that goes. So I think that Pepper's going to get it and Bernardo is going to also get it and Jorge is going to be living.
Ooh, okay. What about you, Sana?
I think the fiance is going to find out that Katy slept with her man.
Ooh.
And I think she's going to choose a different designer at that point. Or she's going to agree and say, you know what? I don't think we're meant to be together and just take the high road and just leave. But I think she's not going to it's going to be a big lose for a big L for Lacey's.
Oh, okay. And what about you, Eric?
I think that this is going to be one of those episodes where everything hits the fan again. I think that Katy may lose her dress deal with the prince and his fiance. I think that her and Gloria are going to come to some type of head for some reason, and I don't know what for. We still haven't gotten that information in regards to what her mom did at Lacey, so I feel like it's going to come out, but not in a good way. I feel like we're going to get some more development as far as Xandra and KO goes because she bought him a coat, but we weren't too focused on them this episode, but we gave them a moment, so that needs development. Josie, I don't care as long as it's not a kitten wig, and that's all I got.
Goodbye.
So I think it's gonna get out that Katy slept with the prince, and I think actually when the fiance finds out, she's going to be. I was gonna say I think she's gonna leak it to the press and all that, but like this wasn't her lifestyle anyway. So I feel like
Mhm.
she's just gonna be like you kind of saved me. Like this is my excuse to get out.
Sure.
Peppa is going to get caught. Something's going to happen with her. I don't want to say get caught, but something's going to backfire or someone's going to be like, yeah, so remember that thing you did last week? Well, this is what's going to happen. I have a gut feeling that something's obviously going to happen with Jorge. I don't want it to happen, but I really like what I said earlier is I feel that that whatever is going to happen is not going to be a tragedy, but it's going to be tragic. And it's going to lead to something really beautiful with his dad. So it's going to lead into a lot of love from his dad and a lot of acceptance. And Josie, I think I'm going to have to agree with Eric. As long as it's not in kitten wig, I'm good. So I think that's pretty much what I feel is just going to happen coming next week. But I guess that's the end of our Zoom AfterBuzz after show. You guys can always find me at Sports and Sass with 3 S's on Twitter, Snapchat, and on Instagram. Bryant, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at the Bryant Santos. And I'm also on the Friday Night SmackDown and the Motherland Fort Salem after show.
Of course you are. And Sanaa, where can we find you?
Yes, follow me on Instagram at @I am_Sanaa, SANA_, as well as on Twitter, I am_Sanaa, SANA.
And where can we find the lovely Eric?
You can catch me on Instagram at The World According to Eric, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Eric Devante. And that's it.
And that's it. And we will catch you guys next week. And I think after this, I might just get a TikTok so I could do all the Katy Keene TikToks.
Yes.
But thank you guys for tuning in. We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.